You know I wouldn't miss this. Happy 2024 Stanley Cup Playoffs Day, everybody. We already had ourselves one game that had concluded earlier this afternoon between the New York Islanders and the Carolina Hurricanes. That was a very tough game to watch. Like, I'm sorry, but the low event hockey, the pace of play, the lack of actual opportunities, that was a game that I don't think anybody's really going to write home about, especially since the Carolina Hurricanes ended up winning, taking a 1-0 series lead. But you know why you're here. You know what everybody is talking about in the hockey world that is just wrapped up on our television screens, because Game 1 between the Boston Bruins and the Toronto Maple Leafs has just concluded, and the Leafs got absolutely gutted and destroyed. The Leafs were walking down the street on their way to TD Garden, and on their way there, somebody kicked them in the shins, they fell to the ground, hands extended in front of them, they got their hands bruised in the gravel, and then they just got a beating. They got kicked to the midsection, hit on the ribs, and while they were down and out, the Bruins just put their teeth to the gravel and curb stomped the heck out of them. Of course, you know, it's one game. Series is 1-0 here for Boston. There's still a chance for the Toronto Maple Leafs to go out there and win 4 out of the next 6 games. But what an absolute stomping that was at the hands of the Boston Bruins. 5-1 is your final score here in Game 1. And honestly, I'm kind of speechless. And that's kind of a problem. Like, I talk for a living, I make YouTube videos here, and if it wasn't for my ability to talk, I wouldn't be making money every single year. But this game, what the hell was that? If you go over to the moneypuck.com deserve to win-o-meter, the Boston Bruins had a 14.7% chance at deserving to win this game. If you go over to the expected goals, the Bruins had 3.7 expected goals. The Maple Leafs had 7.42. Sure, this was mostly carried by the Leafs' continued chances in the first, let's say, 3 minutes of the second period. They were down 1-0. Jeremy Swayman stood on his head. He could not be beat. And look, John Tavares had almost as many expected goals in this game than the entire Boston Bruins team did as a whole. Not to mention Auston Matthews and Nick Robertson, Pontus Holmberg, each getting opportunities on goal. But wow, this was a stomping. And some people were kind of expecting an outcome like this a little bit, you know. The potential was on the horizon there. You had William Nylander, who did not suit up in this game after playing all 82 games in the regular season, which was kind of alarming. A lot of people were like, wait a minute, what happened here? How was he not able to play after he played the entire season? But apparently he got hurt, and he only noticed it after game 82. The Toronto Maple Leafs, though, in this game, it's difficult to give them a ton of credit because the game was 1-0 Boston like 3 minutes in. Bad pinch by Joel Edmondson on the boards in the offensive zone results in a 2-on-1 for Boston to come right down. And guess what? It's Jesper Boquist who sends it across to John Beecher, who beats Ilya Samsonov and gets the cross-crease one-timer goal. 1-0 Boston. All it took was 3 minutes. And the Leafs tried their darndest to go out there and tie this game. We didn't get ourselves goals until the mid-second period, but the thing is, Jeremy Swayman just could not be beat. Now, the Bruins, to their credit, they had some good scoring opportunities thrown away there by Ilya Samsonov towards the end of the first, but in the second period, this is where things go absolutely ballistic insane. Jeremy Swayman is forced to make so many saves. The Leafs, rebound chances, low shots, wide shots, pucks off the goalpost. They just could not bury one in this second period intro. And Auston Matthews had a wide open net after Jeremy Swayman misplayed the puck. He pulled off the old, if you're a goaltender, tend the goal mistake by coming way out of his crease to try and play the puck. And Auston Matthews, instead of burying it in the empty net, goes off the post. Give it a few minutes. The Bruins come back. They get some offensive pressure, and it's Brandon Carlo who fires it right by Ilya Samsonov. Oh my goodness, it's kind of through a screen. It's not the easiest shot to see, but it's definitely one that could have been savable. And as the game continues, just a few minutes later, you had Jake DeBrusk walking right down the right wing to score, and then, literally like 2 minutes later, Jake DeBrusk again, he gets a beautiful tip in front set up by Brad Marchand. power plays all around here for the Boston Bruins because Max Domi can't stay out of the box. And in the third period, this is where Toronto finally gets themselves their goal. It's scored by none other than David Kampf. So the Maple Leafs walk away with at least a goal in this frame. The Boston Bruins get the empty netter at the end of the game to bring it up to 5-1, and that is your first game of the 2024 series for Boston and the Leafs. Ilya Samsonov let in 4 goals on 23 shots, which on paper is just not good enough. It's not. You know the video we made a few days ago talking about Jacob Markstrom potentially being an option for the Leafs? Yeah. I mean, maybe you gotta go out there and rediscover that. Who really knows? But for the rest of the Maple Leafs, the forward core, the $11 million guys, they're not going out there. They're not doing their job. I don't even want to say it's like, oh, physicality, it's this, it's that. Like, there were a lot of hits in this game, especially in the first period. I mean, Sportsnet Stats tweeted this out, that they combined for 48 hits in the first. It's tied for the most hits in any period of an NHL game this season, matching the Bruins and the Leafs, who had 48 hits in the first period on March 7th. So these teams are both very physical, and they do go out there and lay on the body. It's just, is that what you really need to beat Jeremy Swayman? Is there a physical edge that actually gives you an advantage there? You'd think in theory, yes, but when it results in Max Domi going to the box over and over again, that's when it seems to be a problem here. And, you know, it's interesting because now you can say, yeah, well, it's game 1. The sky is not falling. The Leafs are not doomed. Lose one more game like that really badly, and all of a sudden, that's the time to panic. It's only game 1, right? That's totally fair. It's just, how often has this pattern exhibited itself over the years? Not even just in hockey in general, but particularly with the Leafs. This is a core that we have seen year in and year out go through the same ups and downs, have the same questions about them, have the same fingers being pointed at the same guys for the lack of production and the same issues. William Nylander being absent from this game, I'm not going to say that one player could have erased a 4-goal deficit, but it sure as heck would have made this team a lot better in its offensive capabilities, because we've been saying this ever since 2 years ago. William Nylander is the only guy who's consistently good at scoring in the playoffs out of this top-tier money $11 million core that they've got. Everybody else just kind of disappears. It's weird. Very, very strange how these guys don't do much. Last year, they had a great first round, and guess what? They beat Tampa Bay. Then they disappeared against Florida and they lost subsequently, but still, it's the same old thing. They're talented. They just don't show it often enough. And in games like these, against the Boston Bruins, where you are trying to get the pucks on goal, you're getting some opportunities, you're getting into the right areas, you're not burying it, that's when you lose control by Boston taking advantage of an inferior goaltender, and as a result, the rest of their Leafs end up uninspired and incapable. So, what's going to have to happen next game? Well, you're going to have to get Max Domi to be a little bit more disciplined. Like, sure, physical rough stuff, that's great. Playing with Auston Matthews, that's great. There's a reason he is on that line. He is a very good playmaker with 34 poppy. But you only have 7 games to make things right in the playoffs. If you're not able to figure things out quickly, you're going to be out as quickly as you get in. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as to your reactions to the Bruins stomping on the Toronto Maple Leafs 5-1 in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Playoffs Round 1 series. That was an ugly game, but at the same time, it's just Game 1. So we'll see if this kind of result will bleed into the way the Maple Leafs and the Bruins play next time. The Leafs have historically been bad in Game 1, so is that going to continue into Game 2? Who really knows? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.